Ever feel like your phone gets way more updates than your car does?
Yeah.
Like way more often.
hmm
Get ready for all that to change, because today we are diving into the world of software-defined vehicles.
SDVs.
SPVs, exactly.
Yeah.
And to help us wrap our heads around this whole thing, we're going to be looking at some insights from NTT Data.
Global IT leader.
Yeah, a global IT leader for sure. And they have some really interesting things to say about where this whole SDV thing is going.
Yeah, I was really interested to see what they had to say about this kind of a complete shift in the automotive industry.
Absolutely. So to kick things off, why don't you tell us a little bit about what NTT Data does and why they are the people to listen to about SDVs?
Well, they're not just talking the talk, they're walking the walk. They're helping companies build this whole software-defined future. They're right in the thick of it.
That's huge because, like, this isn't some far-off thing. This is happening right now.
Exactly. And the numbers they're predicting are huge, too. Like, we're talking car manufacturers could be making an extra 10 to 20 billion euros.
Whoa.
Each.
Billion with a B.
Billion with a B. By 2030, all thanks to SDVs.
Wow.
And here's the thing. That's not from selling more cars.
Right.
That's coming from services and features that you're going to subscribe to.
Oh, interesting.
Kind of like an app store, but for your car.
Okay, so imagine, like, paying a monthly fee for your heated seats.
Yeah.
Oh, like a super accurate navigation system.
Yeah, I mean, you're already seeing it with some of these, like, high-end cars, right?
Yeah. That makes a lot more sense now.
Exactly.
But we're not just talking about a few cool apps here, are we?
No, not even close. This is a whole system of systems transformation. Like, imagine your car seamlessly connecting with your bank, your insurance, even your smart home.
Okay, so my house is about to get a whole lot smarter if it's talking to my car.
Exactly. So you pull into your driveway, and your car tells your house to adjust the temperature, maybe turn on some lights, before you even walk in the door.
Okay, now that's the future I signed up for. But seriously, how? Like, how are car companies going to make that happen?
Yeah, it requires a complete overhaul of how they do things. Think cloud platforms, data-driven engineering, a whole new level of agility.
Okay, so it's not just about adding some software. This is like a fundamental shift.
Yeah, and this is where NTT Data's enterprise architecture management approach comes in.
EEM.
EM. They're helping car companies build the blueprints and tools to manage this whole complex transformation.
So they're like the masterminds behind the scenes.
Yeah, they're making sure this doesn't all fall apart at the seams.
So it sounds like we need to get into how the cars themselves are changing, how they're actually building these things.
Yeah, let's pop the hood, so to speak.
Let's do it.
All right. Traditionally, how it used to work was that you'd have car functions controlled by these separate electronic units, or ECUs, scattered all over the vehicle.
So it's like little mini brains all doing their own thing.
Exactly. But with SDVs, we're seeing a major shift. NTT Data calls it shift north. Instead of relying on all those separate ECUs, more and more software-based functions are moving to the cloud.
So instead of being hardwired, it's like beamed down to my car.
Exactly.
But what does that actually change for me as a driver?
Okay.
Why does Shift North matter? So instead of waiting for like a whole software update for my phone, I can get individual features upgraded instantly.
Yeah. It's about more than just convenience, though. Shifting those functions to the cloud, it lets you have much more demanding applications. So think like AI-powered driving assistance,
Oh.
or even like high-end gaming right in your car.
Word.
Things that those little ECUs just can't handle.
So you're telling me in the future, my car could have better graphics than my gaming console?
Potentially.
Okay. All right. I'm listening.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you even begin to, like, design and build a car that's basically a giant smartphone on wheels?
Yeah, that's where shift left comes in, another key concept from NTT Data.
Okay.
Remember that dream of like catching a mistake in a blueprint before it becomes a problem in the real world?
Yeah.
Shift left is basically doing that, but with software. So instead of expensive prototypes, you're focusing on virtual engineering simulations early in the process. You find and fix problems before you even build a thing.
So less time tinkering in the garage, more time in the digital world.
Exactly. And to make that work, on a massive scale, you need standardized platforms and modular architectures.
Yeah.
Think of it like building with Legos. You've got these standardized components. You can create a whole bunch of different models without having to start from scratch each time.
And if you need to change something, you just swap out a brick or two, not the whole thing.
Exactly. That's the beauty of modularity. It makes designing building, updating, way more efficient. And for you as a driver, that means a smoother, more integrated experience. You get updates, new features, all delivered seamlessly over the air, just like you're used to with your phone.
You know, it's funny. The thought of my car getting software updates as often as my phone is kind of intimidating.
Yeah.
How do they make sure that all goes smoothly? And like, what about security?
That's where this whole concept of the SDV lifecycle comes in. NTT data really emphasizes this. Developing an SDV, it's not just about building a car. It's about managing this ongoing cycle of updates, data collection, security, long after the car has left the dealership.
So it's less of a sprint to the finish line and more like a marathon of constant improvement?
Yeah, it's a marathon for sure. And to manage that marathon, they rely on agile methodologies.
Okay.
You'll hear it called biz DevOps. You imagine, like, car companies being able to instantly act on user feedback, fix bugs, roll out new features, all in real time. And the whole time, your data's secure.
So it's like they're creating a nervous system for the whole process.
Yeah, exactly.
They mentioned an integrated cloud-native DevOps tool chain. That sounds pretty intense.
It is complex, but basically it's a system to manage that whole life cycle. It's like air traffic control for this whole world of software updates, data analysis, security protocols.
So maybe I don't understand all the technical stuff, but at least someone does.
Right.
It's good to know someone's got it handled. But, you know, with all this talk about cloud computing, agile development, it's easy to forget about the human experience. Like, at the end of the day, what's the point of having a super advanced car if it's not fun to drive?
That's a really important point. NTT data gets into this in their article, SDV and Customer Experience, Paint for the Empty Canvas.
Okay.
They make the argument that all this tech has to enhance our lives, not make things more complicated.
I love that title, by the way. Paint for the Empty Canvas. It really gets at how SDVs can be so much more than just vehicles. So tell me more about that. What do they mean by that?
They use this analogy of the car as an empty canvas.
Okay.
The software is the paint that creates the experience. Like an artist carefully chooses their colors, their brush strokes, SDV engineers need to think about how each software feature adds to the overall feel of the car.
So it's not about cramming in as many features as possible. It's about crafting an experience.
Exactly, yeah. And that's what makes SDVs so different, this focus on the human experience.
It really highlights how SDVs are about way more than just horsepower or handling.
Yeah, it's about transforming the whole driving experience.
Exactly. So picking up on that whole canvas analogy, it seems like the future of SDVs is all about personalization.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine a car that learns what you like as well as your phone does.
Okay.
Like it adjusts your seat, the temperature, even picks your favorite route before you even get in.
So it's like having a personal assistant who also knows how to drive.
There you go, yeah.
What else could we see with this, like in our cars?
Well, think about customized entertainment. News feeds that are tailored to what you want to see.
Okay.
Maybe even recommendations for a restaurant that it knows you like,
Oh, that's smart.
based on like where you're driving and your usual habits.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So it's not just about getting from point A to point B. It's about making that trip as enjoyable as possible for you.
Exactly, yeah. The SDV becomes like this extension of you anticipating what you need.
That's wild.
Yeah.
This has been a really cool look at where things are headed.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground here. Business transformations, mind-blowing tech.
It's a lot to unpack, for sure.
It really is. But it all comes back to this fundamental shift. Like, cars aren't just machines anymore. They're becoming these super sophisticated software-defined platforms.
Exactly.
To wrap things up for our listeners, can you give us like the key takeaway here? What do we really need to remember about SDVs?
Well, remember that they're more than just some cool tech features. It's a massive change in how the whole industry works. It's impacting everything from how cars are designed to how we experience them.
And as we move towards self-driving cars, this SDV thing is only going to get bigger, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's going to completely change what it even means to be a driver.
Which leads us to our final thought for today. If your car could learn everything about you like your smartphone does, how would that change your life? Would it be amazing? Kind of creepy.
Yeah, or maybe a little of both. It's something to think about.
It really is.
Yeah.
Because the future of driving isn't just about what's under the hood anymore. It's about a whole world of new possibilities.
I can't wait.
Me neither.